الشمس والقمر بحسبان والنجم والشجر يسجدان والسماء رفعها ووضع الميزان ألا تطغوا في الميزان وأقيموا الوزن بالقسط ولا تخسروا الميزان والأرض وضعها للأنام فيها فاكهة والنخل ذات الأكمام والحب ذو العصف والريحان فبأي آلاء ربكما تكذبان خلق الإنسان من صلصال كالفخار وخلق الجان من مارج من نار فبأي آلاء ربكما تكذبان.
Please rise for the national anthem. Ladies and gentlemen, ESG reporting the implementation of IFRS S1 and S2. There are many questions that we have, and that is exactly why we're here today, to try and understand what these changes are, what it's all about, and answer the questions that we have with us, right? And we have a wonderful panel for you today. And without further ado, for the welcome address, I would like to call Senior Convener Ms. Louisa Usman Butt. Ms. Louisa has over 20 years of experience and of her career with KPMG Pakistan and has the distinction of being the first lady partner in the large audit and advisory firms of Pakistan. Ladies and gentlemen, a huge round of applause for Ms. Louisa.
Ladies and gentlemen, respected guests, Dr. Shamshad, Ms. Musarrat, Mr. Namosh Khwaja, and all my friends and colleagues, thank you so much for coming today. Assalamu alaikum. It is my privilege to welcome you all to this important seminar focused on environmental, social, and governance standards. In an era where businesses and organizations are increasingly being held accountable for the impact on the world, discussing ESG standards is not just timely but crucial for a collective future. Just recently, I read about the UN's Secretary General saying that the era of global warming has ended and the era of global boiling has started. Consequently, in June 2023, we saw the International Sustainability Standards Board come out with two standards IFRS 1 S1 and IFRS S2. As we gather here today, we bring together a diverse group of thought leaders, experts, and enthusiasts who share a common goal to explore and engage in collective dialogue to learn about requirements included in these two inaugural standards. ICAP has always been on the forefront that whenever any new standard or pronouncements have come in, to work for the collective benefit of the fraternity and update them about those. I encourage you all to participate actively, ask questions, and share your insights openly. On behalf of the SRC, I extend my sincere gratitude to all our distinguished speakers and partners for their invaluable contribution to this event. Without further ado, let us begin with the seminar. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Louisa. Always so nice hearing from you. And now, moving on to proceedings, we now have two guest speakers with us today, and we'll be calling them out simultaneously. First, we have Mr. Rana Nadeem. He is a fellow member of the Institute of Chartered Accountants, Pakistan, and is a partner of KPMG Hadi & Co. with over 20 years of working experience in audit assurance and advisory services. He is currently leading the risk consulting and managing consulting department in their Karachi office. And now for our second, going to mention him as well. Can we move on to the second one? Yes. Next we have Syed Ehsan Ali Shah. Now he is also a fellow member of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of Pakistan and an MBA. He holds a degree in chemical engineering and computer engineering with more than 16 years of expertise of assurance and advisory services, and he is also a partner of KPMG Hadi & Co. Ladies and gentlemen, with a huge round of applause, please welcome our guest speakers.
Assalamu alaikum, everyone. It's really an honor to see my seniors, my teachers, and likes of Dr. Shamshad, Madam Musarrat, and Farooq. All I see is that I have to seek their permission before we start and seek their guidance, that I've been their student in one form or the other. And I would like to thank all of them that they've honored our requests to participate and enlighten us with their depth of experience around the subject, without which this sole presentation would not have made the difference that we intend out of this seminar. Thank you very much, you all. Now here today, the challenge that we have is time. It's such a vast, emerging, and evolving subject that I think these couple of hours or even less will not be sufficient, but I will try my best, pardon me for the speed, and I would always welcome my audience to ask questions, and without getting into debate, considering the time limitation, we would try to respond. And the objective or the end in mind for this discussion is that when we leave this room, we have a better understanding of the gravity, the nature, and the extent of this upcoming adventure in our careers as chartered accountants, as professionals operating in our economy, and how we can support this whole agenda where the transformation is happening without any boundary, without any intermission, honestly. It is so speedily happening that we were saying that standard will come, there will be exposure drafts, there will be discussions, and it will evolve like the financial reporting has evolved over the decades. But now we don't have more than 2-3 years, right? All the regulators have to react. Institutions like ICAP have to react. We all, as professionals who will be working with our clients to enable them to do this reporting and then provide assurance to the other stakeholders, honestly, it's a big challenge in a very short span of time. So thank you very much for bearing with us. It's a long presentation. I'll be skipping certain things. The first part of the presentation is about the base concepts and the backgrounds from where these standards have evolved, then we will look at that how it will impact us, and then what exactly we need to report and how this is going to happen in our economy. Right? So far, this one is not working then. Right? So in terms of the issue, as I identified, is that ESG or sustainability are the words that we have been hearing a lot. And as we observe consultants practicing in the market, everybody has got their own definition. This is permitted to a larger extent, but alignment is also needed. First of all, I would request to unlearn the concept of CSR. This is not CSR, not at all CSR. This is something that goes through your organization and impacts each and everything that we do. This will change the whole risk management framework and approach that we have been doing for our businesses. This will change the way we do the reporting to our stakeholders. This will change the definition of the stakeholders that we have so far now. This will change the topics that are subject of our reports, financial reports, or general purpose reports, whatever name you take, the communication of a business with the stakeholders is changing. And it's an augmentation, it is enhancing it from a concept which we used to say, and sitting in this room or building of ICAP, can we challenge ourselves that somewhere, somehow, the current financial reporting framework has fell short of the expectations of the stakeholders? Do we feel that? Have we ever attempted to do a review of recent business failures? What are the reasons we see? How we understand those? 2008 crisis, we had so many reasons, so many big players. An oil spill creating problems for giant like BP. Polaroid missing the digital bus. BlackBerry missing the digital screen, touch screen. Coal is another debate that is happening around us. And I would still call that, for a country like us, it's an opportunity. But the world is not looking from that lens. Similarly, Google killed Yahoo, almost killed. So what is happening around us? All had perfectly presented financial statements under the approved reporting frameworks in their jurisdiction. Assurance providers provided all the assurance, but it somehow fell short for the stakeholders to understand and anticipate that the business in which they are operating or they're interested or they have stakes is actually not meeting their need for the information. So this subject of sustainability is actually enhancing it all. How we are going to deal with this? This is just the first standard out of the series. What has been happening around? These are the discussions for today. As I said that it's not CSR, then what it is? How organizations operate. Now we are not looking at the balance sheet concept. We are looking at the concept of value chain. In the most simplest words, various stakeholders combine their resources and they interact to create value. May it be from supply of raw materials from the suppliers, processed, created into goods, delivered to the customers. Everything is under the lens now. We are not only reporting on the closing stock, from where it is coming, how long it can come, how much it can come, how much we need, all will be a subject of the reporting that we are going to do. Similarly, when we talk about the ESG or sustainability subject, let's for understanding purposes, we divide it into two basic concepts. One you hear, the climate change. The other word you hear is ESG. Right? Why climate change is being separately discussed, it's the impacts which we all have felt. Just like Muniza said, we are migrating into era of global boiling rather than global warming. It's unfortunate, but to your interest, what are greenhouse gases? The 6, 7, 8 gases, carbon dioxide, methane, nitrous, some man-made gases, industrial hydrochlorofluorides, or etc. These are defined. Ozone itself is a GHG, it's a greenhouse gas. Water vapors all across your environment are greenhouse gas. They do the same thing, they trap heat. This is the system created by the nature. All these gases are good to have, but the excess is not good. If this whole greenhouse system was not there, any guess what would have been the temperature of our planet? Any wild guess? The average temperature would have been minus 18. Planet wouldn't have been livable. So what we have done, these excess emissions has taken us to a stage where recently in the UK, the government is issuing the warnings that get ready to bear the scorching heat and the temperatures around 40 in the next 5-7 years. And maybe it reach 45 in around 2060. What we are talking about? So it has to stop somewhere. So what we have done is, out of the sustainability or ESG subject, we have prioritized the word climate change, and it has gone to a global agenda, and every year we see global pledges and commitments coming, like 1.5 to 2 degree achievement till 2030, 2050. Everybody has got their own agenda, but everybody have a unanimous understanding that this has come, it's not coming. We are living into this age. So what they have done is now, these interventions which are decided at the global level, countries have pledged for it. Now it's time for the corporates to play their part, and they have to report to the stakeholders their GHG emissions, so that collectively we have more reliable data about who's causing what and who's doing to control it. So that is the one aspect of climate change or sustainability. The other aspect is the other topics like ESG, in environment, water, the related wastage, plastics, circular economy. On the social front, we have got things like labor practices, availability of skills, gender, pay gap, right? All these subjects. In governance, we hear about taxation, but now cybersecurity is a bigger threat. The political engagement with the governments, and so on. Regulation, corporate purpose is being redefined. Why these subjects, we believe, are important for reporting to the stakeholders. What they are looking at, they are looking at information beyond the financial statements, which can tell them, as providers of the resources, what they can get out of their investment. So here, there are two big regimes operating in terms of reporting standards. Some of us hear a lot about GRI standards. But when we read these standards, Global Reporting Initiative, when we talk about S1 and S2, it is predominantly talking about SASB, the standards issued by Sustainability Accounting Standard Board. For the discussion today, we are actually applying a haircut to this discussion where we are only discussing about the financial reporting aspects of sustainability. There's another big chunk which is not yet the subject of these standards, is impact reporting. Now, how these are different? These are different as we proceed on the slides. I will try to differentiate those, but keep in mind, I'm just indicating for those who have worked on the GRI standards, and they have a confusion that why new standards and why we use new base standards. So park that question. I will try to respond to that. Now, we have just aligned these are some of the questions, in my view, which you might have. And I will try to respond to these as quickly as possible. And then you have the opportunity, when we have got our panelists to discuss some of the practical issues, we can talk about those as well at that time. What has been released, what we need to disclose, what are the standards based on, what is the background. And there is a debate which will continue between SASB and the GRI. How and when it can affect you. Now again, the adoption is a whole exercise, and where the regulators, SECP, the practitioners under the umbrella of ICAP, they all have to take a call that will they go on a modular approach, will they just adopt a standard and ask everyone to do it. Then the question will be, do we have the capacity as an economy or an industry to implement those? Similarly, we will talk about where to disclose this information. There's a fundamental question coming. Is it an appendix to the financial statements, or a separate report can be connected to the existing financial reporting? Because a lot has happened for the financial reporting, and we have got a mature market and the practice for financial reporting. So it will be a very difficult migration for those to go for immediately, or in a first stance go for integrated reporting. So people or my clients or my colleagues who are operating and considering the implementation of this standard, they are talking about a gradual journey where they can publish their separate sustainability reports and connect it to the financial statements, which is allowed under this standard as well. Again, number 8, we will discuss if we have already adopted other frameworks. The same question, if somebody is operating on other framework, may it be integrated reporting, may it be GRI standards, using as the base for selecting your topics, it is allowed. So we don't need to worry, we just need to adjust to this particular standard, right? And what we need to do now, the last slide where I will hand it over to our panel, is that what are the key steps in our view which the industry, the regulators, and other stakeholders should be taking. Yeah. Now this slide is not for a detailed understanding. Just understand one thing. The IFRS Foundation has taken a journey of consolidation. The work on sustainability was happening on various forefronts, right? The Task Force on Climate-Related Financial Disclosures, they have published a lot of information. When it got amalgamated or it got converged towards the IFRS Foundation, they took extracts from that and developed the sustainability standard, which we see in the form of S1, S2. Similarly, when we will discuss the structure of these standards, you will realize that one is the framework that just gives the understanding how to disclose your sustainability risks and opportunities. Whereas, when you talk about what to disclose, there is a whole lot of information in the form of GRI standards, in the form of SASB standards, in the form of other technical standards, which we need to select based on the business model on which we are operating. So that is a fundamental choice that we need to take if we are starting the journey, and we need to revisit or review our selection if we are in the mid of the journey, we are applying S1 and S2 if it gets adopted in our jurisdiction. So it's a convergence. All have converged toward the IFRS standards. Still, there is a debate pending that how we can utilize GRI standards, which has got a different mode of documentation as compared to SASB standards. This debate will remain and it will need to mature. I cannot go into details in this limited time for this, but there is a difference. Currently, this S1 standard coming from the IFRS platform is actually asking us to refer to the SASB standards as a first preference. And if we can prove that it's not sufficiently addressing to our needs, we can move on to the other ones. So flexibility is there because they all understand it will be difficult to adopt them immediately and in a matured way. So there will be some choices which we exercise, which mean we need to reverse going forward. Okay, this is the structure of the standard. The standard provides the general features like any other financial reporting standard, a set of definitions, a set of discussions that to whom it applies, when it will be applied, how it can be applied, but what to disclose or what is the core requirement of the standard is that four-band or four-pillar approach that you need to disclose all your sustainability-related risks and opportunities in these four bands. You select a topic and you start talking about what is the governance process the company has adopted. What is your strategy to deal with this risk? How you identify, assess, and manage that risk. And what are the matrices and targets that you have set, where you are now and where you want to be. For example, you have reported your GHG emissions at a particular level. It's not enough. You have to identify that what is your target, what is your decarbonization plan, when you will achieve, for example, a net zero. The emissions that you are making should be offsetted by some actions or some compensations which enables you to put a statement that we are a net zero company, right? The amount we are emitting, we are actually compensating to the environment for that. May it be by planting the trees, may it be buying carbon credits. It has to be a journey. It's not something that it's a point in time reporting like the balance sheet that we do. It is forward-looking, right? And all those forward-looking judgments and disclosures are really important and incorporates a lot of experience and judgment exercised by the guidance that has been provided in the form of SASB standards, in the form of GRI standards, all those science-based targets, all those bases of calculations have been provided. What we need to do is we need to just align it. There's a concept in the market that maybe we need scientists sitting in the finance department. It may not be happening like that. There's enough information available which will enable you to exercise judgments to decide what you need to report on that. And definitely, technical knowledge will be available. Now, this is the base structure. Then in the vertical bands, we have got one climate standard, right? Yeah.